Claudia Funderburk here with a topic of interest for you. Is technology improving or diminishing classroom skills? Some teachers think the wave of technology that's flooding into schools all over America is an issue, while on the other hand, some teachers think it is a great opportunity for improvement. I've interviewed 3 staff members and 1 student from here at Moorhead to discuss this interesting topic. What positive outcomes have you noticed from using technology in the classroom?
I think students are more involved. I think they're more excited about what we do. I feel like they feel like it's very relevant to today if technology is involved.
Have you noticed any major problems with using technology in the classroom?
There are a few, but I wouldn't call them major. Not everybody has their Chromebook every day. And so if somebody doesn't have one, you have to figure out what to do. Not everybody's is charged. And I have people all around the corners sitting in the floor charging their Chromebook. But that's okay because, they have a lot on their mind and they're forgetting. Also, there are a few students who, for whatever reason, just don't have a Chromebook. Or they forget it and they leave it at home that day. So I would say it's more tiny little human problems.
In your email, you stated that you were a dinosaur when it comes to technology. Do you feel that this has impacted your classroom regarding technology?
I'm very honest with my students, and they know I don't know anything about computers. And there have been times that I've been ready to throw mine out the window, and the only thing that saved it was a kid who comes up and says, "Just calm down, let me help you," because you all know so much more about computers than I can ever. I feel like they can see my excitement when I get to do something I know, like I really like Canvas. I like that the students can pull up their grades anytime. They can come and tell me, "You gave me a 0 for something," and show it to me, and I see my handwriting on it, and I know I just forgot to record. I feel like being a dinosaur would be better than being a brand new young teacher. They don't appreciate it, I don't think. My daughter teaches 1st grade. She is so smart with computers, and I don't think she appreciates what all the computers offer and what all they give her that she can add in the classroom, because she's never had that. I'm from the age where we had a set of encyclopedias, and that was big research material. So being a dinosaur, were it not for the kids and their willingness to help me, I couldn't do it. There's some people here at school, Miss Joyce, she's a godsend. But I really think realizing what we have makes it even better for me.
What problems have you noticed with students using Chromebooks?
There's not strong enough broadband access to the internet here, so overloading of information slows down the internet. They're having a lot of issues with their Google Documents, specifically just being able to access them as well as sending them to me without giving the right kind of access. Chromebooks tend to break very easily, I would say. Sometimes parents don't allow their students access to Chromebooks, and so then it's a lot harder for them to complete the assignments. And then mainly a big issue is when they're not at school, they have a lot of issue accessing sites that they otherwise could access while at school. So internet issues and access.
Why do you choose to use as little technology in the classroom as you can?
I guess it's because I'm a little old-fashioned. I do use technology in the classroom, but sometimes I try to stay away from it because I feel that when my students graduate, hopefully they will, they have to be able to write. They have to be able to physically write out applications, they have to be able to spell, they have to be able to think on the spot, and there won't always be technology for that. So that's a main reason why. And it's a lot faster to type something than to write something. So I want them to work on their handwriting, work on conveying their thoughts, and to be able to do that in pen and pencil a lot.
With using paper assignments, do you feel it's harder to keep the attention of the students rather than using technology?
That's a good question. Yes and no. I feel that there are less distractions when they're just using pen and paper. However, I also feel that today's generations are used to being multitaskers, so that when they're not multitasking, it's almost like it's harder for them. So in that sense, I can see there being an issue with them not using more electronics in the classroom.
What outlook do you have for technology in our school?
Well, if you look at technology in society, technology is always evolving, and a lot of times it's difficult to keep up with the pace that technology evolves at. So if we're going to prepare our students for their futures, we need to expose them to as much technology as we can in the classroom so that they learn how to cope and deal with it and use it to their advantage on a daily basis.
See, I'm with that to an extent, but I think pencil and paper still works the best for learning because technology creates too many distractions.
How has the use of Chromebooks impacted our school as a whole?
Well, for me, it has harmed us because too many teachers are taking the easy way out and just giving us online assignments to complete that most kids can Google the answer in 5 minutes and finish.
Is that a nuisance, or is that using your resources wisely?
That would be using your resources wisely, but then you're not learning nothing from it other than how to Google stuff.
Emily actually makes a good point. The thought process that people are using, there is kind of a shift, if you want to call it a paradigm shift. When I was going up through school, we were taught in a very matter of fact, it's a factual context where when we were tested, you just simply had to know the facts. And it was rote repetition at what, you either had to memorize or you didn't. Nowadays, with the advances of technology, sometimes that's a little bit different. Technology's at your fingertips, it's at your cell phone, it's in your laptop with Wi-Fi hotspots that people can carry with them anywhere. And with cell phones having internet access, the answer is always just a couple finger strokes away.
Why do you feel that some teachers have neglected to use technology in the classroom?
Some of it could be intimidation. For example, years ago when I bought my first computer, my father was scared to really even turn it on. He thought that he was going to break it or damage it somehow. And basically I had to teach him, this is how you use it, this is what it's for. And he got to the point where he wasn't scared of the computer anymore, and in fact, I'd have to kick him off of it because he was trying to play solitaire or whatever. So he wasn't a big fan of computers, but he did learn how to use a computer on a very basic level. Now, my dad was raised in a time where there weren't any computers, so that was an advancement later on in life. With some of your teachers, you're going to find out that, they may or may not have the background to function with the technologies that we have access to. If you look back with the installation of the active boards, the document cameras, the LCD projectors that we have in each classroom, that pretty much was all installed over the course of one summer. So a teacher really went from not having the technology to having it like that. And we didn't necessarily have the means to hands-on train everybody all at once to get them up to speed on using that. When we made that transition at Rockingham County Schools, I was a little ahead of the game because I had already taken the time to install a document camera and an LCD projector and those things in my classroom, and I had already been using them. So the transition for me was kind of easy because I had already prepared myself for that. Others, I don't want to say that they're scared of it, but maybe they don't have the background using the technology that they need, and that comes through training and actually just day-to-day use. So the more teachers use it, the better they'll get with it.
I think most of it is a lot of the teachers have been here 20, 25 years, and they're set in their ways and they know what works each year for each student. So they continue, if it's just taking notes and taking tests every day, they know that that's going to work from teachers I've had in the past.
I've been here for 20 years. What are you saying?
You're a technology teacher. It's different. I'm talking about Mr. Peterson's biology class. He knows what would work.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to see him using his active board and stuff when he knows his typical notes you take every day.
Well, what a lot of students don't consider, anytime you see a lesson, whether it be in a PowerPoint or whether it be on an active board, there's not a lot of resources out there for us to just go and say, oh, I want to use this PowerPoint, I want to use this active board lesson. It's not out there. We have to create it. And if they don't have the knowledge to create it themselves, how do they get it?
Right.
So some of it's not resistance, some of it's just the fact that the information's not necessarily out there. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. You really got to know how to look for it. And then once you find it, you have to know how to use it.
With state budget cuts cutting nearly 80% of the funding for textbooks, it would seem that we need technology for the advancing of our schools. Whether you're for or against technology, every day technology advances with or without you. Thank you for your time.